break 7-1 into two sections, today and Tuesday, and also I will, and Charlie, and also I posted kind of an assignment calendar for the chapter so you could see kind of when the tests fall and the quizzes and stuff like that. I don't think I did have I have a quiz in there right before the test. So this is chapter 7, x squared equals 16. You don't have to write anything on your whiteboard yet, okay? What values of x, are, make, that says make the equation true, okay? Who can tell me that? Meadow can tell me. 4. There's another one though. What else? Jessica? Negative 4. Okay? So because 4 times, 4 squared equals 16, but also negative 4, if I square it, okay, is equal to 16, right? So when you have something like this, x squared equals 16, you have to be aware that there are two solutions, okay? 4 and negative 4 are called what? Are called square roots. Square roots of 16. Okay, so this is the word. Yeah, no. So the square root of 16 is both 4 and negative 4. Okay? Okay, whiteboards. What's a square root? Square root of 36. Go ahead. Write it down. Write down your answer. Right, it's a toughie. Yeah. No! Right? No. Yes. 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 So, yeah. Plus or minus 6, right? Can we do another one? Wasn't that hard? That was too easy. How about, what if I erase this and put 121? Quick! You guys know that. Practicing your times tables. You don't know what the square root of 100 is?
I know. I just don't need it.
Write it down. Okay. Yeah. Okay, you guys are all geniuses. Okay? Oh, that's good artistry. You're a good artist, too. Calvin's going to show everyone his art. Plus or minus 11, right?
Wants to see my art.
Quick, show. Calvin's going to show you his artwork.
Is
that me? That's not me, is it? Okay. Very nice. I think you got that wire, right? Good? If I saw some of you putting this on your board, right? This thing, okay? This thing is called it's called a radical, is it called? I don't know what it's called. But that's the radicand, I think? Radicand? I'm not sure. I knew that. So this is a radicand. This thing is the radical sign, okay? This is the radical sign, I guess you call that. The radicand is the thing inside, okay? So this, when you see something like this, square root of 16, it means just the positive square root of 16, okay? So this is positive. It's always positive, okay? And in this case, it's 4. You could write stuff down as notes as well as using your whiteboard. 4. So, here's a tough one. What's this equal to? What's that equal to? Do you have to write that down?
No.
Just positive 10. Okay? What would this be equal to? You guys try this one, okay? Like this. Go ahead, put that on your whiteboard.
What does the negative mean?
That means you take the square root and then you make it negative. Okay? So go ahead. Yeah, it's, what's the square root of 400? What's the square root of positive 400? 20. So the answer is negative 20, right? It's positive square root of this, then you make it negative. What's this? Just for kicks. What's that? What two numbers multiply to negative 400?
20 and 80.
Same, they have to be the same, right? What? That's right. Okay. So if you see a negative inside the square root sign, no solution. No real solution. When we talk about imaginary numbers, we talk about imaginary solutions, but right now we have no real solution. Okay? Imaginary numbers. Yep. You don't like, have you heard of imaginary numbers? It is. Okay. What if I have, you can also do square roots with fractions, okay? So if you have a square root with a fraction, you should probably write something like this down or make a note of it, okay? This can be divided into two square roots, square root of 9 divided by the square root of 25. And what is the square root of 9? 3. And what's the square root of 25? 5. And just to check that, square root means what number do I need to multiply it by itself to get this, right? So the opposite of doing that would be 3/5 times 3/5. And you multiply the tops and you multiply the bottoms, and you get 9 over 25, right? So this squared will give you this, right? So a square root is the opposite of squaring something. Okay, so here we go. You try. Square root of 36/49. Slow down. Go ahead. David, try this.
Is that right?
No, David, that's not right. Go ahead. That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. Very good. So what? So it's just most of you got 6/7. This piece stuff is a piece of cake. How about this one? It's a little bit different. How about the square root of 1/4? Square root of 1/4. People always get confused when there's a 1 there. But yep. Let me see there. Mandy, where's your answer? I don't see any answer. You're drawing pictures. What's your answer? Okay. Allie, why are you sitting over there? Where's your answer? Okay. Yes, this is 1/2. How about this? So I bet not gonna be super easy. What's the square root of 0.04? I see 1, 2, I see a few right answers. So to do it, I see a few right answers, but I don't see all right answers, okay? What I would do is check it. A lot of you put this, right? 0.02. So check your answer, okay? 0.02 times 0.02. Remember how to do this? You multiply this times this, you get 4. This times this, you get 0. And then you move over. This times this, you put a 0 here. This times this, you put a 0 here. And then you add, and you get 0, 0, 4. Do you remember doing that ever? Okay. But 0.02 times 0.02 is not 0.04, it's 0.004. Who figured out what it is supposed to be? What is it, Allie? It's just plain old 0.2, because 0.2 times 0.2, multiply this times this, you get, that's 4. How do you do that? And that comes out to be, there's, you move it over 2 decimal places, okay? So it's going to be 0.04, right? 0.0, 2 times 2 is 4, and then you move it over 2 decimals, right? So 0, so this is your answer. So it's not that, it's equal to 0.2. Got to be a little careful with some of those, okay? Try another one. How about square root of 0.0001? 0.0001. 0.0001. Yeah, because there's 2 decimal places here, you move it 2 decimal places. Oh, I should have moved it 4 here. 4, 0, 0. So they should 1, 2. Oh, you were right. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I think that's 0.01, right? That is 0.01 because 0.01 times 0.01 is 1, but you have 4 decimal places. So you start here, and you go. Do you start there? You go. I forget. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, right? 0.001. I forget this stuff. I always use a calculator. Now, do you guys remember? Do you know how to use a calculator to find square roots? So they don't always come out perfect, right? So if you go to your, I'm not going to use that calculator. Where's my other calculator? What's it called? TI Tools. This one. So, hold on. Oh, yeah. So, if you have a calculator, if you have a calculator like we have in class, couple different ways to do things. This probably will, depending on the test or quiz, we might not be able to use it, but if you want to, like second square root, right, of 0.0001, and then you have to arrow out of the box, I believe, and then you hit enter, and it gives you the answer, which is 0.01. Okay? What if I wanted to do the square root of 72? Okay? Now that's not going to give you an exact answer because there are no 2 perfect answers, but it will round off for you. Oh, it's simplified. If it does that, by the way, we'll get to this, which is called simplifying radicals, but we're not going to do that right now. You can hit this double arrow key, and it rounds it off to a decimal. Okay? So you hit this double thing, and it'll get, so it's about 8.48. Questions so far? Easy enough? Calvin, it's really good. You're really coming off. Okay. So now we're going to talk about functions and square roots. So say I have a function f of t is equal to square root of 5t minus 10, and they want f of 3, okay? F of 3. What does that mean? A lot of you guys still don't know what it means when it says f of something. What does that mean, Claire?
It's just like t, so you plug in the 3
Right.
wherever the t is.
Right, you plug in the 3 wherever the t is. So it's square roots of 5 times 3 minus 10. Follow your order of operations. So this is 15 minus 10, right? Which is equal to the square root of 5. And if they say, this is called an exact answer. Exact. Okay? If you take your calculator and you take second square root of 5, okay? And you put that that's approximately equal to 2.24 or something like that. 2.24. So on your Math Excel, guys, sometimes they'll say round your answer, sometimes they'll say leave it exact. This is what they mean by exact, okay? So using the same function, you guys find f of 2. F of 2. Go ahead. Find f of 2. Calvin, find f of 2. You got to do this or you're going to ding you points. Okay. Yeah, it's just, so a lot of you guys, I'm waiting for Calvin. So f of 2, a lot of you guys found that it's 5 times 2 minus 10, which is equal to the square root of 0. The square root of 0 is 0, okay? So 0 is kind of here. So I saw some of you guys wrote square root of 0. It's just 0, okay? What's f of, try this one, f of negative 1. F of negative 1. See what you come up with. Write it on your board. I got to pause. So most of you got square root of negative 15. Square root of negative 15, no, so you can write no solution, or you can write, don't just leave it at square root of negative 15, because that means you can take the square root of negative, well, it doesn't really, you want to write it as no solution, or D and E, then you sound really smart. You know what D and E means? Does not exist, okay? So, does not exist, at least in the real number system. It does not exist, okay? We're going to try a different problem, and so you guys are going to try this one. F of x, f of x equals square root of negative, let me fix that, okay, is equal to negative square root of x plus 1 quantity squared, okay? Find f of negative 3. Ooh, that's kind of a tricky one. Go ahead, try that. Pay attention to how you do it. You plug negative 3 in here, okay? So you take negative 3 and you stick it in there. That gives you negative square root of negative 3 plus 1 quantity squared, right? When you do that, you still have the negative outside. What's negative 3 plus 1? Negative 2. Then you have to square negative 2. What's negative 2 squared? 4, okay? Positive 4. What is the square root of positive 4? It's 2, so there's still a negative sign outside. So your answer is negative 2. Okay, so that one was not so straightforward, right? Okay. Which brings us to an important point, okay? The square root of x squared, so this is kind of weird, but true, okay? Just a couple more things and then we're going to do the practice worksheet, okay? The square root of x squared does not always equal x, okay? For example, if I put 4 in there, okay, what do I get out? So, or excuse me, so if I did f of 4, what do I get out? What's f of 4 for this function? It's equal to 4, right? I would take the 4, I'd square it, then I'd take the square root of it. But what is f of negative 4? What's f of negative 4? It's also 4, right? And, okay, so that brings up an important rule, okay? So if you have something being squared inside the square root symbol, the answer is the absolute value of x. So the square root of x squared is equal to absolute value of x. What's the absolute value of negative 4? 4. What's the absolute value of 4? 4. Okay? So using that same idea, the square root of x plus 1 quantity squared is equal to what? Mandy, square root of x plus 1 quantity squared is equal to what? You don't know. Use this rule. Square root of x squared is equal to absolute value of x. What's the square root of x plus 1? What does x plus 1 squared mean? X plus 1 times x plus 1. But could it also be, I could also have a negative x plus 1 times negative x plus 1 could also give me x plus 1 out here, right? Because if I multiply negative x plus 1 times negative x plus 1, it multiplies the same thing that this would multiply by. So just remember, if this is a square root and this is squared, you have to do this, okay? You have to put absolute values around it, okay? So you guys try this one. What is the square root of the absolute value, or not the absolute, of 100x squared? You try it. Like that. 100x squared. Yep. Okay. Nope. Yep. Yep. What do you got? Yep, 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 yep. No, you got to put absolute value around it. Okay. So, a lot of you guys. So the answer to this is absolute. The square root of 100 is 10, right? Square root of x squared is x. So it would be 10x, but you have to put absolute value around it, because that may be a negative number, or whatever's in the x. It may be positive or negative before you put it in. The other thing you could do, since what's the absolute value of 10? 10. So I could pull the 10 outside and leave it like this. It doesn't matter. The 10 could stay inside or outside, because this is always going to turn this into a positive number, and this is always positive. Okay? One more, then I'm going to give you a little, two more. Okay? What's the square root of x minus 3 quantity squared? Easy. Everyone has to try. Try, please. Everyone try. That's a perfect square trinomial, which you saw in your test, and a lot of you guys didn't know how to deal with that. Okay? What times itself would give you that? What times itself would give you that? Not 3x plus 4. Yes, Adam. No, Calvin. Almost. What do you got there? Need absolute value, Jessica. Andy got it. Yep. That's right. What do you got, David, other than some pictures? Very good, Calvin. Very good, Quinn. Copy out Quinn. Very awesome. Okay. Not both of them, just one of them. Right? Because it's a square root of that, right? That's right, Cole. What do you got there, Kurt? Yes. What do you get there? Hannah? Nothing? Not nice. What do you get? Gia? Nothing? Okay. So, that's right, Ian. Okay. So look for tricks. Pause here for station identification. Hi, Groovy guys, Groovy gals. Got a big day tonight. Never mind. That's my ad from Cheech and Chong's album in the 70s. You remember that one?
Yeah, surprisingly
You
not.
remember that one? 20 minutes or so. I want you to get this done in class. We'll come back to the whiteboards just for about 10 more minutes. Oh, there's more. 10 more minutes. I think we could do that. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. This is kind of some stuff I didn't quite get to, but I think we can do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you get to have a joke that goes with it. You have to show some work. You can't just put the answer down. Okay? But hey, what? Okay. What's a fish's worst day of the week? Friday? Here, I get a joke for you. Doctor, you suffer from rheumatism. Do you suffer from rheumatism? What? I don't get it. Never mind, those are stupid. Okay, so I'm going to bring up this worksheet because I have it somewhere. I finally figured out, after working here for 17 years, how to use the copy machine to scan stuff in. So I could scan. Do you know how to do that? Scan stuff using the copy machine?
I know how to use the one in the front of.
Oh, you
Not
just
the big machine.
yeah, you just plug in your number and it scans it right in and sends you an email. It's
Right.
really cool.
I learned that last.
Yeah. So you guys, right here, chapter 7, radical expressions. I'm gonna try to put the newer stuff at the top. Here's assignments. If you click on this. What's today? There it is, and here's this worksheet. I wouldn't mind going through a couple things with you, because some of them we didn't quite talk about. Can I rotate this? I can. So like a couple of these, like I think you could, so just to show, we're going to do some more of these rules, but this is only a worksheet I could really find that that had some of the stuff we were talking about. So if you see, like, let's see, I think you know how to deal with this, you know how to deal with this. This one, you can figure out this because you know the square root of 25, you can figure out the square root of 4. Here you have to square them both, then subtract, and then take the square roots. What might you have trouble with? This you can do, we did one like that. This one, you can simplify and then multiply. This one I think you can do, this one you can do. This one you add them together, and then you take the square root. Okay? What's the square root of 72 squared? 72, right? So if you square a square root, it just takes the square root symbol. Did you know that? Okay? But stuff like this down here, let me just do one of these. And then I think you'll be good. You'll be able to do most of the rest. Okay? So what if I saw, here's the hardest one. This is the hardest one. Okay? Maybe it's the hardest one. You should really have, they don't have absolute value on these. I'm assuming that they think that all A's and all the variables are positive in this case. So don't worry about the absolute value, but if we were doing this on a test or something, you have to value. You want to break this into a bunch of separate square roots. Leave the negative 15 outside. What's the square root of 16? 4. Okay? What's the square root of a to the 100th power? Not a to the 10th. Okay? Because remember, you, is it a to the, it is a to the 10th. You're right. Wait, is it a? No, it's not a to the 10th. Because it's a to the 50th. Okay? Because remember, you add the exponents to get this thing. Okay, so the square root of a to the 100th is a to the 50th power, right? So this is equal to a to the 50th. What's the square root of b squared? B. Okay. This is 4. So altogether you have negative 15 times 4 times a to the 50th times b, right? And when I simplify that, what's 15 times 4? 15 times 4 is negative 60 a to the 50th b. Is that answer somewhere on your sheet? Should be. Okay? There it is. Okay? So if you have an even exponent inside the square root, you just divide it by 2, right? To find the square root. Go ahead. Show some work. Yeah, you have to get this done in class. Okay? So you have about, I'll give you about 20 minutes to work. Okay? And then we'll come back to the whiteboards for about 10 or 15 minutes. Go to the bathroom. Oh, where'd that go? I could create some more tests. Uh-oh, I'm still recording. This is, and then I'll